Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Aitzel, and welcome back to something a little bit different on my channel because this time around I'm doing some voiceover. I'm usually the one behind the camera during the live streams, trying to record something and putting it up for you guys, and hopefully try to interact with some of the live stream guys as well. But this time around, we are doing a voiceover because I couldn't stream. Somehow, my OBS wasn't working properly, so I was only able to do a little bit of a voiceover on my race replay, which is IRC round 4 around the Jeddah Corniche circuit. We are in the Red Bull today. That is just how things worked out. We ended up being in the Red Bull as a reserve driver. Heading out now into qualifying, loaded our setup as you could see there, and now we are on our flying lap, our first flying lap of the session on the soft tires. Try to qualify as high as possible. I had maybe 20 25 odd laps of practice around this circuit before I came into this race. Generally know the layout of the track, but unfortunately due to time constraints over the past week I've been unable to practice. It was an okay lap, the first lap. It was a little bit ginger just going out on track and trying to set a lap time. But unfortunately, immediately as we come through sector 1, we invalidate at the end of the lap. So you immediately turn off the ERS deploy and try to coast for the rest of the lap because you don't want to be spending too much ERS. This is the first fast flying lap that we did, so we'll go on board, and this is the final qualifying lap that I ended up doing, and you'll see why a little later. As we come across the line, we start the lap heading down into turn 1. You want to brake just beyond the 100-meter board, get down to second gear, short shift up to fourth. I was a little late on the short shift and I lost a little bit of time as the traction control kicked in. This first sector is all about trying to, well, it's a little bit of trying to stay within the track limits, but also to abuse it as much as possible because you want to carry momentum through all of these corners. You want to carry that speed. As you can see, we're trying to carry as much as possible. Coming just towards the end of sector 1 there, got very, very close to invalidating. But you can see briefly at the bottom right, or the bottom left rather, we did go purple in sector 1. Well, briefly anyway, if not for the entirety of, well, someone may have gone faster shortly afterwards. But we were purple, which meant we were on pace in sector 1. Coming through sector 2 now, did decently well, clouted the wall a little bit there, and in general this lap was very scruffy. I wasn't happy with it at all, but it was something representative to get on the board before we could improve, which in the end I didn't end up doing. But you can see this is where I lost most of the time. I lost about 3 or 4 tenths through that corner there. Really, really bad exit. Went all over the curb. Luckily we didn't invalidate the lap because we lost so much time that even F1's track limits didn't invalidate us. Coming through the last corner again, didn't feel like I got it nailed on. Understeered a little bit wide on mid corner. On exit it seemed fine. Hugged the inside line as much as possible. Come across the line, it's a 130.0, which puts us roughly about a second and a half off the pace, which was really disappointing, but I felt like I had the chance to improve. This was at the end of that. This was the in lap. As we come into the pits, we're going to settle for P8 right now in the standings. Definitely time on the board there, so we bolt on another set of soft tires and we head out for the final couple of laps. Had a little bit of time elapse, so it was about 10 minutes that we did our first flying lap. Now it's 2 minutes, and I felt a little bit more confident because we had a time on the board, so I didn't really feel like I had much to lose at this point. So I really absolutely sent it. And as you can see, we're gaining so much time through every single corner because that confidence is back. I had a little bit of confidence now in the car, in the setup, in the tires, and I felt like I could push a bit more, and I'm a bit more brave on the throttle in some places. And you can see the delta is definitely reflecting that, as you have a big oversteer moment coming towards the end of sector 1, and unfortunately we invalidate there, but you can see the delta was definitely there and the time was there as well. 4 tenths up at the end of sector 1, and we have another shot right towards the end of qualifying, but unfortunately got a little too greedy on the exit and we lost all the time right there. Bit unfortunate, but we do line up P16. Could have been P10 or so had the lap gone optimally. But we are going to ride on board this invalidated lap because I just wanted to see how much time was still on the board. So we coming through sector 1 here, really good so far. And you can see what could have been. You know, we are 5 tenths up, more than 5 tenths up as we come through, or just less than 5 tenths up coming through the hairpin. And now we're 5.5 tenths up. So there was definitely a lot of time left on that lap. As we come to the end of qualifying, we did qualify P16 as I mentioned earlier. So far down that we are not even in the top standings. As you can see, Montero on pole in the Williams, SSJ
Nice carrying
Assassin, and
Williams.
Abhi 20 in P3. Really good qualifying from those guys. And you can see just how far back we are, about a second and a half. Now let's get on to the race. Formation lap has a lap. So you're starting on the medium tires because I feel like the medium soft was definitely the best strategy. Got a clean start at the beginning. Didn't want to get involved in too much drama, so just held back a little bit at turn one. Didn't want to absolutely send it in the pursuit of positions. Just wanted to play it a little cool. As you can see, everybody was getting
Good
argy bargy
surprise in the
already.
turn one.
We see Kimrai on the inside there in the Alfa Romeo. Freeman behind us, who you will hear a couple of times in the
Kimrai
VC
got
along
squeezed.
with me because we were racing together. Kimrai got a little bit pinched there by BK19 and he lost the position. Now Heisenberg got a really bad run towards the end of sector 1. I believe at this point he also had wing damage, so it only made sense that he was losing time absolutely everywhere. An unstable front end meant that the car was constantly understeering everywhere. Not good at all, and we gained the position. They're not under the best of circumstances, but a position is a position and we will take it. At this point I am behind the Alpha Tauri. Oh, my apologies, I'm behind the Haas of BK19 as we head into lap 2 now, and I didn't want to get too aggressive and try to overtake as many people as possible, but you will notice Aditya is getting very very feisty behind me in the Alpha Tauri. He's constantly sticking in his nose in everywhere, and at this point Electrip loses the car at the middle of lap 2, so we gain another
Safety
position.
car,
We're up
please.
into P11, so we started P16 up into P11 already. Really good start so far from us on the medium tires. We can definitely make this work to our advantage. We try up the inside of BK19 just a little bit too far back, and that bites us back because now Aditya has gotten a really good run on me down the pit straight. I let him show him the outside line, but I know it's pretty pointless anyway because he has the slipstream of BK19, and I just decided to let him go, not to be too keen in these opening couple of corners. But immediately I get paid back for that little bit of consideration because Aditya gets a big stab of oversteer coming out of turn 2, and we get the position back almost immediately. Now we are on lap 3, still behind BK19, suffering a lot in the dirty end. BK loses it coming through sector 2. We got a little lucky there, just far enough that we could avoid all the carnage that it would have caused. Had we made contact with him, we would have lost a wing. Moving on to lap 5 now, we are just behind this big train now forming behind Shawshank rather I should say, in the Ferrari. Warhammer in the AlphaTauri now dives into the pit lane a little bit early, but he's in the soft tires. Don't know if he was carrying a little bit of damage or not as we come on to lap 6. Now we are stuck behind the McLaren of Unleashed and the Ferrari of Shawshank going into this next part of the lap. Still on lap 6 now, and you can see Unleashed absolutely bonked that inside barrier as hard as he could, and now he's unsettled massively, and we're also going to pick up another 3 seconds, now a 6-second time penalty. Don't worry, that's going to be a recurring theme for me throughout the course of this race because I pick up quite a few penalties. But we can see there, we saw a Mercedes spun around going through the hairpin. That is RB Ferraro. Really unfortunate for him, one of the faster guys in tier 2. Just got a little bit too excited on the throttle pedal probably and spun out, although that is what I perceived. And this is where I was a little bit silly. I should have maybe held back a bit. We go side by side through the section where it's generally not advised to go side by side at all, and we get really really close, about an inch off maybe. I leave Unleashed enough space. He just outbreaks himself a little bit coming into the first part of sector 3, that fast left right section, and we get the job done on him. He runs a little wide, but we still managed to get the position on him. Now coming on to the end of lap 7, again coming through sector 3, we get a really good run off that penultimate corner. Coming now on Shawshank, we have the DRS. We go around the outside on lap 7 now. These soft tires are maybe 30-40% worn down. We get a really good exit still behind him as we come into the DRS detection, and we zoom right past because we have DRS. Pretty easy overtake, and now we're up into P5 at the end of that. So lap 8, we're up into P5. A couple of drivers have also pit at this point, so we are up into P5. Really good position for us. At the end of this lap, the first of the front runners start to pit, so Meerkat initiate the first to initiate the strategy, if you will. A little bit of wordplay there. He dives into the pits onto a set of medium tires. So about 10 laps is what the life of the soft tires is around this circuit. You can extend it a little bit to 11. At this point, the race leader, SSG Assassin, who had the fastest lap at the time, dives into the pits as well. He's going to also bolt on a new set of mediums, and as you can see how far ahead he was compared to Meerkat initiate, because he's come out right behind us, and that's a 12-15 second pit stop. You lose about 20 seconds in the pit, so he had about 20 seconds on us. And you can see at this point that I'm a little bit rattled by the fact that the fastest guy on track is right behind me. And I start to make a couple of mistakes here and there, running wide, picking up track limits here and there. And you can see those brand new medium tires have a massive pace advantage right now. So I don't want to fight him. I make the smart decision. I show him the inside. Don't want to hold him up too much and burn his tires off. I wasn't really fighting for the race win from the beginning anyway, so might as well help a fellow Tamilian out and let Dan through. Well, I let Dan through in a way that would impede both of us the least. As we come on to lap 13, at this point, Dan has pulled quite an advantage on us in the span of a lap, 3.5 seconds, but Abhi comes into the pits. Now the soft runners, the guys running on the softs for a fairly long period of time, 13 laps now, definitely not a wise decision. And Anish Montero also dives into the pits and comes out behind us. And you'll see just about here the delta is 4.5 seconds between me and Montero, and I make a catastrophic mistake here. Just got a little too much on the exit, and unfortunately we have to damage our front wing. So now we have a negligible amount of damage, but still enough to slow us down. You can see over the course of a lap how much damage that is done. We've lost nearly 4 seconds to Anish Montero. Not really, again, fighting for position, but it is a lot of time that we lose in the overall sense of it. Anyway, dive into the pits now, the pit window, and now I have to repair my wing as well. So you can see on the bottom right, repair wing damage is set to yes. We come into the pits, have to repair the front wing, put on a set of soft tires, and now it is going to be push, push, push all the way until the end. We lose about 5 seconds more than what would be required, maybe 5 or 6 seconds more than what would be necessary. And you can see we've lost the positions to the drivers we've already overtaken, the likes of Shawshank, Sager, RB Ferralo, who recovered from his spin and he's now moved up into P8. So we come out just behind him, and him and Sager are going to have a battle now for a period of a couple of laps, which allows me to really catch up. And now I'm on the soft tires, and these tires are magical. I'm feeling all the extra grip. I'm feeling some confidence now, and with 9 seconds of penalties, I really do have to get a move on. So I am on max attack all the way until the end. These last 10 laps have to be immaculate, and they have to be fast. Within a lap, we've already caught on to the back of this little battle, 2.5 seconds in the span of a lap, mostly because these two guys are holding each other up and stepping on each other's coattails a little bit. Sager on the hard tires, having made a mistake earlier on, might have lost a wing, might have had to go long on the second stint and had to pit to the hard tires. And you can see the delta advantage is massive between me and the cars ahead. RB also on a set of mediums, but they are fairly old. As we come into the final corner, I move to the outside of Sager. I felt like I had the advantage to go around the outside, and I knew that RB would also hug the inside, so Sager would get held up by RB, and as a result we get a brilliant exit out of the final corner. Got the overtake done on Sager around the outside. Pretty good move, I'd say, and this is the most overtaking action I've seen all races. We move to the outside of RB. We've got the DRS. RB does not, and we make the move pretty easily, and now I'm up into P7. But yeah, another 3-second time penalty there, so that's 12 seconds now. Really not looking good for us. At the end of lap 17, or roughly at the end of lap 17, I would say we are currently right now the fastest man on track, as evidenced by as we come across the line and we pick up the fastest lap of the race of 1:30.1. Pretty happy with that. We ended up holding the fastest lap all the way until the end. Now we're hooked onto the back of Shawshank, and at this point I've got 15 seconds of penalties, and you can hear I'm a little frustrated right now because of that. I don't know what got into me. I just decided to send it up the inside, decided not to spend too much time behind the Ferrari driver, and it was a little bit forceful, but unfortunately it is what it is. Coming to the end of lap 18, now we are still P6 behind Abhi 20, who dives into the pits. Not quite sure what happened, but he dives into the pits, and he is now down into P6. We're up into P5, and at this point I'm thinking I've got 12 seconds of penalties. I've got nothing to lose. I have to be on max attack for the rest of this race. So we're up into P5, and you can see the delta up ahead to Aditya is 7 seconds, and I've got about 6 laps. So I have to catch him at a second a lap, and I think I've got the pace to do it. So at this point I'm just going, fuck it. There is no option for me now but to absolutely send it every single lap and hope for the best. So we see here we're catching up massively to Aditya every single lap. We're making up a huge every single sector, every single corner, we're making up a huge amount of time to him. And I'm just absolutely loving the pace on these tires right now. The tires feel good, the delta feels good. I had quite not enough ERS saved up, but I didn't really mind too much about it. So coming now to the end of lap 22, we are seeing the delta steadily dropping every single lap. It was about 6.5, 7 seconds, but now it's come down to 4.5 seconds. At this point, I'm having a little bit of hope. I feel like there's still a chance that we could catch up to Aditya. Coming on to lap 23, we make another 1.5 seconds on Aditya. 3 seconds now to the AlphaTauri driver, and now I'm focusing more on opening up a gap behind me because we have those 15 seconds of penalties to worry about. Lap 23, not much in the way of overtaking going on at this point. Freeman had just retired, called it a day on his race, and so there's yellow flags coming out. No safety car, unfortunately, so we just have to focus and keep moving. But now we come on to the final lap, and now we are just about a second off Aditya, and we're going to play this throughout, and I'm going to play this whole lap through, and we're going to see exactly what happens as we come through sector 1. You can see the soft tires have a massive advantage. Aditya pitted for a couple of laps earlier. He also started on the mediums, but I believe he pitted a couple of laps earlier, so he had 13-14 lap old softs at this point, and the delta advantage, it's minimal, but it's still there. He's also making a few mistakes here and there, maybe not getting on throttle fast enough, maybe not braking late enough. He's definitely a little bit unsure with all of these turning in points and how close you can get to the walls. He's definitely not exploring the track limits as much as we are. But I'm more surprised with the fact that from between lap 17 and lap 25, I didn't pick up any more time penalties. We got 15 seconds, but it stopped there. We didn't really pick up much after that. And as you can see now, I am just desperate to try and get that last position. We are finally within DRS, 4 tenths down. I felt like it was a bit too far back. Should I send it? Should I not? SSJ crosses the line to get the victory. I was a bit too far back, thought against it, but Aditya runs a bit too wide going into the final corner. I know it's not for position, but it might just be a little bit sweeter to get this victory on track. P4 coming across the line. It's a drag race, and I just felt like I pipped him at the line by about half a second or half a tenth, my apologies, and we finish P4. But because of penalties, we moved down to P6. Really disappointed because towards the end there, I had about 12 seconds on RB Ferraro behind me. And with that, it comes to the end of the race, and okay, I'll take that as well. Really happy with the driver of the day. From P16 up to P6, great race for me. And there is Electrip celebrating on the podium, having my apologies, that's not Electrip, that's SSJ Assassin. Electrip left the session at that point. SSJ Assassin picking up the win in the Aston Martin, Montero coming second, Meerkat coming third, and a really good result for the Aston Martin driver for the championship. But you can see there we started in P16, finished in P6, and got the fastest lap of the race as well. But thank you guys very much for watching. If you did enjoy what you have seen today, please make sure to like and subscribe. I'll try to do a couple more of these voiceovers / live stream type videos in the future. But for now, take care, thank you very much, and I'll see you guys in the next video.